What is going on, guys? It's the Inside Boot Podcast, episode number 44. And today we're breaking down the New York Yankees outlook of the season. Of course, we all know as Yankee fans, the New York Yankees have been eliminated from playoff contention. They only have a few games left. But I figured I'd just make this video now because we all know that the Yankees will not be playing playoff baseball in October. So Yankee Stadium is done. The games are pretty much useless. They're just playing for, really anything, nothing really to play for. But, the Yankees went out and they had a bad year. Bunch of injuries. But I really can't blame this team on injuries. I blame this team on just being not talented enough. Don't think the talent was there, in my opinion. I think, once Judge went down, the offense was brutal. And even when he came back, it wasn't amazing. And that falls on Brian Cashman in the front office failing because, some players had a really good year. Garrett Cole had an amazing year, probably going to win the Cy Young. Judge, even injured, had a really solid year in my book. And, Cole's going to be on his way to his first Cy Young. And it's just crazy to me that he won't be pitching in October. It's tough. As a Yankee fan, diehard Yankee fan, it's tough to see this because as a Yankee fan, you always think they're going to make the playoffs. You always think they're going to go on a run. We always have that excitement and all that, but this team just I didn't really have that feeling, right? Usually I have some optimism. Maybe this team could turn it around, but even when they turned it around too late. Towards the end of the year, they started playing better. But, with Dominguez coming in and Austin Wells, they all played pretty good, but just too late. Too little, too late. And now we get into the Yankees' outlook of the season, the big things that I saw and the big things that confused me. So the Yankees, of course, Brian Cashman, never fired anybody. He hasn't fired a general man, he hasn't fired a manager or any of that type of stuff in his tenure as a Yankee, and he goes out and fires Dylan Lawson, heading coach for the New York Yankees, to try and create a spark in the clubhouse and try to get something going with the team because their offense was just bad, really bad. But they go out and hire Sean Casey, a guy that formerly played in the MLB, and nothing changed. Okay, they try to get some of the guys going, like Giancarlo Stanton, like DJ LeMahieu, who was struggling in that time, and a bunch of other players, but they just didn't have it, and it was just a bad year from the New York Yankees, and us as fans are pissed off because this is a team that has a $280 million payroll, and this is a team that they construct. They went in the season with no left fielder. They made IKF play the outfield, which is just bad. You made Billy McKinney and Willie Calhoun even step on the field, even Jake Bauers. I mean, just all players that would not be really starting on any other team unless you're the worst team in baseball, like the Kansas City Royals or the, Athletics. That's not a shot at them. It's just the truth. But, this is a team that just really has a long off season ahead of them, and they really need to get going because the offense stunk this year. Pitching was, I guess, average. I think Garrett Cole was really obviously your best pitcher. Nestor Cortez was out of the lineup a ton this year. Carlos Rodon, when he was healthy, he wasn't amazing. Luis Severino was a mess. I don't know if he's ever going to play a game again for the Yankees. Bad stuff. Michael King is now a starter apparently, which is definitely interesting to me. Even though he's looked good, he has looked good, and that's a good sign. But just a big thing for this team was the offense. They have to go into this offseason really providing some offense for Judge and the pitching too. I mean, if Garrett Cole throws out, um, you know, you know, 8 innings of one run work, you should be able to win that game. But there's been times that they just don't score, and it's just such a bad look for them because this is a Yankees team that usually can score some runs. Obviously, it's because it's a long ball, but they still score runs. And that's another thing, is the Yankees need to get hitters that can hit the ball and play. Giancarlo Stanton's been a mess. We'll get into him in a little bit. But the Yankees just have to get bats in the offseason that can hit. And I'm not saying guys that hit 20 home runs and bat 194. I'm talking about guys that can at least hit 260, 270 maybe, and just a few, extra base hits. That's all I care about. Gio Urshela was a great player for the Yankees. I thought that fit what they needed. But in the end, they trade Josh Donaldson for him. That might, honestly, out of all the trades Brian Cashman has done, that might be the worst one he's ever done. I don't know on what planet that you think that's a good trade to trade Gio Urshela, who was never batting under, I think, 260 as a Yankee, and you trade for a 37-year-old making $25 million a year? On what planet does that make sense, Cash? That one wrapped my head around. Because you need quality bats on this team. Look at the Astros. Look at the Braves. Look at the Dodgers. All those teams have really good players up and down the lineup. And the Braves don't even spend that much. That's all, most of that's all homegrown talent. The Dodgers obviously spend money, but they just get in there. They get in the playoffs. They make trades for good players. They trade for Mookie Betts for virtually nothing. I'm not saying the Yankees have to go out and get a guy like Mookie Betts, but still, let's spend money smarter. That's the big thing for the Yankees: spending money smarter. Because this is a team that needs to play the short game. Just put the ball in play, and this team was not built for that, and that falls on Brian Cashman. A lot of this falls on Brian Cashman. I mean, their depth was horrible. It was consistent guys like Willie Calhoun, um, you know, Billy McKinney, Jake Bauers, just all brutal. I need someone off the bat who can at least do something. But, Cashman has no direction, right? He's got no path. So it's interesting on what he does because he could have gotten some elite players. He could have gotten a Marcus Semien. He could have gotten a Carlos Correa. He could have gotten Corey Seager, Trey Turner, you name it, Bryce Harper. This guy passed up on Bryce Harper for Stanton. And I know, you're going to be like, oh, but he got hurt. We didn't, his legs gave out. I understand. But still, even if he came off that year, I'm still trying to get Harper over Stanton, in my opinion. That's not just because we all know what happened to Stanton. It's just because of the fact that Harper's a better player overall. And they settled for mediocre players this year. And you just can't do that if you're the New York Yankees. It would never, ever, this should never happen. But, in this offseason, they really need to figure something out. Because this is a Yankees team that has not made the World Series since 2009. Over a decade, you've seen no Yankee team make it to the World Series. Brian Cashman needs to really fix this team and fast before it's too late because Judge is getting up there in age and Cole is getting up there in age. We need to fix this now. But now we get into the keepers, guys that I think that the Yankees should keep, and guys that I can say goodbye. First guy, we're going to go into the goodbyes. My goodbyes are Luis Severino, Kyle Higashioka, Frankie Montas, Giancarlo Stanton, and IKF. Severino, injury prone, just doesn't have his stuff anymore. Higgy, I just can't see the Yankees carrying three catchers. Just doesn't make sense. Frankie Montas, bad trade from the Yanks, shoulder injury, bunch of shoulder stuff, just bad work. Giancarlo Stanton, his legs don't work, eat up his contract. And IKF, just not a good player, to be honest with you. Keepers, Wandy Peralta, I like him. I know they could probably honestly move on with him and get away from it. You know, get away, get away with it. But obviously we signed Clay Holmes, Michael King. Those two guys definitely deserve their money. And Gleyber Torres. I'm probably missing a few guys that they should keep, but definitely those guys for sure. Those are the four guys that really came to mind. But this Yankees team needs to really figure it out fast because they're a few honestly 3 to 5 years behind what behind what MLB baseball is what it is, right? This is a league now that is people teams are developing their youth and it's working. Look at Dela Cruz from the Reds. All these guys are not getting paid a lot of money and they're relying on their prospects. Now, for the Yankees' point of view, Judge and Cole, who are your two best players on the team, are in their mid-30s. So now, what is the path? Do we say let's ship it and hope that they can get a ring for their career, or do we go through the more developmental route and Judge and Cole won't win a ring, and they get better players because they developed them and developed them correctly? So that's a question for you guys in the comments below. But now we get into the Q&A to wrap this video up. So one of the questions, we got 2 questions today. One of the questions was if Giancarlo Stanton was cut by the Yankees in the offseason, and then in parentheses, hopefully, how would you describe his tenure with the Yankees, especially that he passed on Bryce Harper, and look at Bryce Harper now. So, we kind of touched on this. Giancarlo Stanton was brutal as a Yankee, to be totally honest. I liked him as a person, as a baseball player. He should probably hang up the cleats now before it's too late. I think his body is shot. I think he was playing injured the rest of the year because clearly he was running in cruise control and just could not go at a higher speed, because if he did, he's probably pulling a hamstring or something. He's just injury prone. It's tough to see how Giancarlo Stanton's career has gone. And it's a big what if the Yankees chose Bryce Harper over Giancarlo Stanton. It's tough to see. I like Stan as a person, but as a baseball player, it was a really tough year and a really tough career for him as a Yankee. And also, would you wait one more offseason to get Juan Soto? By doing that, the Yankees don't sign Ballinger, but the only risk is that they don't. The only risk they take is they don't sign Ballinger and Soto doesn't get re-signed. Thoughts? So, 2 good players. Of course, for Cody Bellinger, it is a bit risky because this is his first good year in a bit. 2019 was really good. 2020, 2021, bad years. And the thing is with Soto is if you don't sign Bellinger and you decide we're going to wait a year to wait for, Juan Soto to hit free agency, that's a risk. Because if you lose out on both of them, that's really bad. And I've seen reports about Soto that he does still like the Padres and he does kind of want to get a deal done. So that's definitely something to take into consideration, because if he gets signed with the Padres, then you kind of have to really push for Cody Bellinger. And I ultimately think that's just what's going to happen. I think they're just going to get Bellinger, and who knows what's going to happen. He could very well just turn back into his 2020 self. Or one of his bad years, whatever one of those bad years were. He could very just turn out to be very bad again, and the Yankees pay a lot of money to a player that doesn't do good. I could very well see that happening just with the Yankees' luck. But regardless, thank you guys for hitting that subscribe button, hit notifications to click that bell so you know when I upload these. videos. Of course, it's been Vin. It's been the Inside of the Podcast, episode number 44, breaking down the Yankees' outlook and what I think they should do. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.